Namami Sati So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. In class, share online somebody will join. No? It's not able to share. Send me the link of morning to share the screen. No? Persons devoid of Atma Tattva. Deha patte kalatradishu tesham pramatto nidanam pashyannapi na pashyati. Deha patte kalatradishu atmasenneshu sasapi tesham pramatto nidanam pashyanapi na pashyati. Translation purport by Zhang Samshubhati. Person devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life. Being too attached to the fallible soldiers like the body, children, and wife, although sufficiently experienced, they still do not see their inevitable destruction. The material world is called the world of death. Every living being, beginning from Brahma or duration of life, is some thousands or millions of years, down to the germs who live for a few seconds only struggling for existence. Therefore, this life is a sort of fight with better nature which imposes death upon all. In the human form of life, a living being is competent enough to come to an understanding of this great struggle for existence. But being too attached to family members, society, country, etc., he wants to win over the invincible material nature with the aid of bodily strength, children, wife, relatives, etc. Although he sufficiently experienced the matter by dint of past experience and previous examples of his deceased predecessors, he does not see the so-called fighting soldiers like the children, relatives, society members, and countrymen are all fallible in the great struggle. Punch is examining the fact that his father or his father's father has already died, and he himself is therefore also sure to die. And similarly, his children, who are the would-be fathers of their children, will also die in due course. No one will survive in the struggle with material nature. The history of human society definitely proves it, yet the foolish people still suggest that in the future they will be able to live perpetually with the help of material science. This poor fund of knowledge exhibited by human society is certainly misleading and is all due to ignoring the constitution of the living soul. This material world exists only as a dream due to our attachment to it. Otherwise, the living soul is always different from the material nature. The great ocean of material nature is tossing with the waves of time. The so-called living condition is something like forming bubbles which appear before us as bodily self, wife, children, society, countrymen, etc. Due to a lack of knowledge of self, we become victimized of the force of ignorance, thus spoil the valuable energy of human life in a vain search after permanent living conditions which are impossible in this material world. Our friends, relatives, and so-called wives and children are not only fallible but also bewildered by the outward glamour of material existence. As such, they cannot save us. Still, they think that we are safe within the orbit of family, society, or country. The whole materialistic advancement of human civilization, like the decoration of a dead body, everyone is a dead body flapping only for a few days. And yet, all the energy of human life is being wasted in the decoration of this dead body. Sudhir Goswami is pointing out the duty of the human being after showing the actual position of bewildered human activities. Persons who are devoid of the knowledge of Atma are misguided, but those who are devoted to the Lord and have perfect realization of transcendental knowledge are not bewildered. ॐ अज्ञानतिमदन्धसे ज्ञानं जनं शलाकया चक्षुर्मिलितामेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं वदन्ति च वदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापतितं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवां च श्रीरूपां सारजातां सहगना रघुनाथामितं तं सजीवं सावधेतां सावधूतं परिजनाचरितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखामृतां च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चादेशचारिणे नमो मामदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेमापदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरितसे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमस्ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरि वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Hare Krishna. So we're beginning our second canto. Already, I think one class has happened. So whenever I give classes, I try to give an overview of the whole section, then just taking that particular verse. So what is the second canto all about, and how? So we'll just take the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. You know the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam? It comes in the 10th chapter of second canto. Atra sargo visarga cha. Sthanam poshnamotaya manvantranugataha ishanu manvantranugataha nirodha muktirashraya. So these are the 10 topics of Srimad. So these are the 10 topics of Srimad Bhagavatam. Mukti Ashraya. Now, the first and second canto is a Sarga. It's about Sarga. And especially the second canto is about Sarga. First canto, maybe some few verses talk about Sarga. More is just an introduction about how Sukadeva Goswami meets Parikshit. In the first canto, there is no, the Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken by Sukadeva Goswami. There is no mention of any verse spoken by Sukadeva Goswami in the first canto. He starts speaking from the second canto. And his speaking, start of his speech is only detachment doses. Right? Not just all of you are boys staying, unmarried boys staying. And the classes are different than what is for congregation. Now, Sukdev Goswami is giving class to sages who are sitting in a kopit and just maybe some tree bark. So then class has to be different on that. And Parikshit also has come in a kopit. Parikshit also has come sitting in a kopit and knows everything. And now you talk about balancing family life. Parikshit will get up from the class and Sukdev Goswami till then have not spoken to Parikshit. When he was a king, Sukdev Goswami, there's no mention that he came and gave a class to Parikshit. Only was announced everything and came and sit in a coffin. That's the time Sukdev Goswami. Because if the guru doesn't wear anything, then the disciple also should be of the same category. There. So when there is a detachment in the heart of Parikshit, that's the time Sukdev Goswami is speaking to Parikshit. And the all sages, they were very, very detached who were coming. They were not, it was not a common public sitting in the Bhagavad in that class. Of you see, it was mainly the sages and the disciples. Some sages were married, but they were sages. They were doing tapasya there. And that kind of the Muni and the Sanya, they were sitting in Shukatal. And that's where the Sukdev Goswami is speaking. Now, Sukdev Goswami, when he came, it looked retarded. He's completely naked. People are making fun of him, throwing stones also. When they saw Parikshit standing in before and sages standing before in honor of Sukdev Goswami, then everybody ran away. They didn't realize his exalted position. And then they made Sukdev Goswami sing. And what is the power of Sukdev Goswami? His 7 days of Bhagavatam seminar made Parikshit went on back to Godhead. That's the power of Sukdev Goswami. And Parikshit, what is the Parikshit's phase of life? He's going to die in 7 days. When you're going to die in 7 days, you don't think about how to balance a family. You don't think about that. You just think you want to go back home, back to Godhead. And this is the beauty of Bhagavad Purana. All other Puranas are talking about, okay, you do this puja, you will get this, you do this puja, you will get it. Bhagavatam Purana only talks about how to go back to Godhead. And all kings retiring from their family life, all kings going. And that's what Shrimad Bhagavatam is speaking about. The first four verses, now just think what are the first four verses Sukadeva Goswami is speaking about. So, what was the question of Parikshit Maharaj? Anyone who's going to die, what is his duty? And Sukadeva Goswami said, very nice question you have asked. It is beneficial for everybody. And the second dose, it says, those who are materially engrossed have many subject matter for him. Shrotavadini Rajendra Ninam Santi Sahasrasha. They have a lot of topics to talk about Prajalpa, newspapers and things. Why? They're mentally engrossed. And they like that. People read Bhagavatam, they will sleep, but news channel gets open, all sleep goes away. But they're mentally engrossed. The tuning matches there. And then he says that those who are attached householders, they spend their time in the day working hard, in night and sleeping and sex. Very openly is talking about. It's not, is this a starting opening of Sukdev? And now the fourth verse he talks about those who are devoid of Atma Tattva, they don't realize Atma, they are taking shelter. They are of impermanent soldiers, infallible soldiers, like the body, children, and wife. Now, when we hear this, but the problem is we are living in a Varnashrama system. We are living in a Varnashrama. And therefore, it's important to understand a harmony between the detachment and bhakti and living in a family the setup. But why it's important? See what is how the varnashrama system works. First, we have to understand this. Otherwise, devotees sometimes become fanatic if they don't understand how the varnashrama works. The whole point of varnashrama is first feeling sheltered. First, feeling sheltered in material life. First, feeling sheltered in material life. Unless people feel sheltered in material life, real renunciation will not come. Like an example, how? Now, if prasad is not there today, will you peacefully sitting here for the Bhagavad? So is it material shelter you're seeking or not? Now we are not so detached, right? If we know that there's no prasad, then devotees probably will be go and cook missing Bhagavatam. Mind will be, like, suppose you have to go to office. Now you may go to office without prasadam. The whole day what the mind will be? Agitated only. That means we need, if your night sleep didn't happen, you will be troubled or not in the day. Which means we also have material shelter. So the whole Vedic Varnashrama is that people need material shelter because they identify with the body. So the whole purpose not to remove all shelter is to elevate the soul that he doesn't need any material shelter. That's the purpose of an ashrama. Are you getting point difference between the two? It's not artificially giving up the shelters, but while the soul is being given those shelters in a one ashrama setup to uplift the soul beyond those shelters. And that is a mature way of renunciation. And that is why in our preaching, this has to be very much understood. In our preaching, this fact has to be very much understood how to people renounce people or how people can renounce maturely, not immaturely. The Bhagavatam talks about renunciation. So in a family, when a child is born, it is a lot of love, care, emotions there from the mother, father, the family, and child feels very sheltered. And actually, that is Krishna's love for the child because unless a living entity feels shelter like this, he will not be able to emotionally mature, secure himself there. When that is done, then he goes to Gurukul. Again, in the Gurukul also, he is cared by the Guru and the Guru Mata. Guru Mata is also there. Guru disciplines and Guru Mata provides the needs, care for the child. And there he takes shelter of Guru. Guru says, don't eat, you don't eat. So he's again under the shelter of Guru. He's not under shelter of Krishna. He's shelter of Guru and he knows his needs will be provided. Then after Guru comes from the ashram of Guru, he comes and gets married. And then he find a shelter in a Grasta ashram. So it's called ashram. Grasta ashram is also called ashram. That means it should have a spiritual culture. And in a Grasta ashram, first you'll find shelter in the parents, wife, children. But then what happens if they become 50? Parents, mother, they either go to one person, so they leave the body. Then they understand, I am all alone. He realizes, and that's why they put pagadi also. When father and mother dies, they put pagadi upon the person. Now you are the mukhya. Then you start understanding the world is impermanent, and I will also die. And then husband and wife said, अरे तुम्हारे बच्चे बड़े हो गए अभी बच्चों की शादी करा दी अब ज्यादा इंटरफेरेंस मत करो उनकी शादी में डोंट क्रिएट प्रॉब्लम गो वन प्रस्ता then now wife shelter is there. There's no enjoyment with the wife, but there's a shelter of wife. But even staying with the wife for so many years, because so much enjoyment they have done, so they have to purify those impressions of enjoyment. And now person gives even up the shelter of wife and takes sannyas. So this is the way a person who has given a lot of material shelters, but slowly he give up all material shelters to take complete depend on Krishna, which is the goal of life. Sharanagati. That there's no other shelter than Krishna. But you see, shelters are not artificially removed from the person. When he becomes grows by spiritual knowledge, then the shelters are taken away. Are you getting my point? Because when shelters are artificially done and person does it, neither he has shelter of Krishna, neither material shelter, he gets crazy. Person has not attained shelter of Krishna also and not attained shelter, what shelter he needs in life emotionally, materially and thing. So the person feels little crazy with it. And that's why it's called a mature renunciation. A mature renunciation is what? You elevate a person in bhakti so much that he find no shelter other than Krishna's lotus feet. Eko na bhuji na prabhu tomhara charan ashokabaya amrita purna sarvakana. That's the path of bhakti. In a path of bhakti, You don't have to remove material shelters purposefully. You first trying to get a shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, and the result of feeling the shelter in lotus feet of Krishna, you don't need any other shelter. I remember the time 2004 when I was joining. So I told at home I'm joining there, and I was coming back. Now after giving up job and telling parents I'm joining and things. In the train, I was feeling so great shelter in the feet of the Lord. Yeah, अभी कुछ नहीं है because money, no shelter. Parents, no shelter. And devotees shelter is there, but ultimately it's Krishna who's going to take care. And whether some physical need is met, not met, Krishna, you take care. So that was the heart there. But if that's not there, then you feel vacuum. ये क्या हो गया? Are you getting the point? So therefore, only when you have Krishna's shelter, you can actually renounce the world there. But unless you find that Krishna's shelter, and that's why Guru Padashray, you find shelter of a Vaishnava who can actually award you the shelter of Krishna. And then you feel very secure. You don't need shelter of a job. You don't need shelter of a family. You don't need shelter of anything because you're sheltered in Krishna. And for that, one has to awaken, keep awaken his bhakti with that shelter. Why? If somebody has like Punthana, his son died. 3 days he was crying before Guru Vayurappa. And after crying for 3 days to Guru Vayurappa, the Guru Vayurappa spoke. If I'm your child, why you need another child? Now why? He is emotionally broken. My child died. Now how did a child die? When people came, it was some Namkaran Sanskar. Everybody start putting so many when the other ritual they will bring some clothes for the child. They put all the clothes for the child suffocated and died. I was crying. That's what I was reading about how his child died. Now, but because he felt shelter in Krishna, he forgot his son. Right? So therefore, a devotee needs to find shelter in Krishna. Devotee needs to find shelter in Krishna. And that is something important. If you find that shelter in Krishna, other things don't matter. And this Sharanagati. So you go to Guru to learn this Sharanagati. And Parikshit has gone to Sukadeva Goswami to learn this Sharanagati. There. That nothing else in this world is our shelter. Only Krishna's lotus feet is our shelter. There. Now, till the time we have a false ego, we take shelter of this false ego. I am this, I am that. People, most people, even more than the physical things, they find shelter of the false ego. Oh, I have a bank balance. I am such and such personality. I am also very learned. So people find a shelter or not, and due to which they engage in. And when those shelter, but the problem is when there are material shelters, when they're taken away, it's very painful. Even you're taking shelter of your false identity, when that false ego is taken away. Somebody insults you. That means that false ego is taken away. Somebody take up with the seva which you identify with. Somebody take up your job which you very much identify with. Then person feels very difficult. But to give up the shelters, this impermanent shelter, and find shelter in Krishna's lotus feet, because nobody can take Krishna's lotus feet from you. And therefore, when you find shelter in that which is permanent, nobody can shake it up. And that's a Shuddha Bhakta, that's a pure devotee. That he has found a shelter in Krishna's lotus feet, in Krishna. And this is the goal of life. And renunciation is just a byproduct of that shelter. Whether person living in family life, a person is renounced, but because he has found shelter in Krishna, he is very much Right there. And this is the goal of life, finding that shelter. And this shelter comes by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Because how you know about Krishna from Guru? How you feel Krishna's shelter? Because in a neophyte state, to understand Krishna's shelter is not easy. Say, Prabhu, I'm taking to bhakti where these problems are happening in my life. Pandavas, the devotees, pure devotees of Krishna, they went to so many struggles. But because they are shelter of Krishna, so the sweet, they couldn't be deterred. They always remember the Lord. And whole Bhagavatam is giving that shelter to us, a shelter beyond all changes of life. A shelter which is not dependent upon material situations. But shelter of this world are so much dependent. There. Today job is there, tomorrow job may not be there. Today family is there, tomorrow family may not be there. Today wife is there, tomorrow wife may not be there. Today husband is there, tomorrow husband may be no more. The shelters there. But if we have Krishna's shelter, whatever is, He has given me this birth, He has given me this life, He will take care of me in any situation of life. And that's a shelter when one person feels it's nothing to worry. And this faith, development of this faith, development of this shelter is the real prerogative of a devotee. And then devotee becomes fearless. Bhaja hore mana, Shinanda Nandana, Abhaya Charanara Vindare. That's a path of bhakti. Abhaya Charanara Vindare. That you feel the shelter. And that's what Krishna is saying. Sarva dharman paritajya mamekam Shanamaja Am tam sarapapabhi mujishami Ajaja. I'll give you Shanagati. I'll give you the real shelter. And that's what Krishna speaks about. So Bhagavad Puran and other Puranas, so other Puranas will give a lot of material benefits also and others. But Bhagavad Puran, and sometimes even they will also talk about detachment. But their detachment talking more will be about there. Like for example, like today, Puranic views on materialism. So just doing little research upon this. So even Vishnu Puran talks about, devotion to Vishnu leading to liberation. But it is bhakti integrated with dharma framework. But in Bhagavatam, when renunciation is for exclusive bhakti. In other Puranas, the renunciation is for moksha. But in Bhagavad Purana, the renunciation is for exclusive bhakti, kevala bhakti. They talk about. And that's how devotee even rise from Gunibhut Bhakti to Pradhanibhut Bhakti to Kevala Bhakti. In Gunibhut Bhakti, person focuses on doing his duties and offer the results to Krishna. And Shravan Kirtan is not the main thing. That is called Gunibhut Bhakti. In Pradhanibhut Bhakti, and Gunibhut Bhakti is a multi-lifetime process. Bahunam Jannam Ante. Pradhanibhut Bhakti is a jiva in Pradhanibhut Bhakti is his main source of yoga is bhakti yoga. But still he thinks he need work to survive. He need to do work to survive. And then his faith increases and to such a level that he feels I don't have any other than service to Krishna. And that time he comes to the path of Kevala Bhakti and go back home back to Godhead. There. Like if you see Prabhupada times, Prabhupada directly talk about Kevala Bhakti. Even Grasas were living full time only in the temple, and full time they were into missionary activities. As a Grasta or a Brahmachari, full time. Kevala Bhakti, nothing else in life. But as the time progresses, Vanashrama Dharma comes and things, then Pradhani Bhut Bhakti. And the purpose of Pradhani Bhut Bhakti, that being situated in a Pradhani Bhut Bhakti, like all of us, those who are doing nice morning program, is just setting up Pradhani Bhut Bhakti. where Shravanam Kirtan is the main, but you have some dependence on your material deities. But a time should come where person transcends his faith from Pradhani Bhut Bhakti to Keval Bhakti. That Krishna's shelter alone is everything. And to back to Godhead in this lifetime, the transition of faith should happen. The transition of faith should happen from Pradhani Bhut Bhakti to by mercy. See, ISKCON means if you have to stay means Pradhani Bhut Bhakti. Guni Bhut Bhakti will not do. That is well wisher. Sometime coming the temple and thing or new people. New people are in Guni Bhut Bhakti. यहाँ आते हैं एक दिन आते हैं अच्छा लगता है. They are very like I yesterday took realization of people. You know, after 18 chapter of Gita, and most people talk about Karmi Yoga only. Nobody talk about Sharanagati. It's not easy for them to understand about Sharanagati. Whole class was on Sharanagati, but nobody spoke about it. Because many people, for them, that karma yoga, we offer the results of our karma to Krishna and don't expect result. That's very enchanting because that's what they relate in their office. So they're becoming devotee. That's a guni bhut bhakti. Bhakti is just a mixture. Main is karma only. But as then when they become serious devotees, they take bhakti seriously. Then bhakti becomes primary, karma becomes secondary. Yeah. So that becomes pradhani bhut bhakti for them. Yeah, for the devotees. Yeah. And this is how. So even other Puranas talk about Bhagavatam directly talks about detachment. It starts with detachment. This is Sukadevas. It's not giving any material benefit there. And another thing is respect between Grihasthas and Brahmacharis. It's very important when we read. One problem happens with artificial renunciation is when we are thinking, okay, we'll renounce everything, we develop a sense of pride. And we look down upon others who may be wanting to get married. Right? This is called pride of renunciation, which is not good. If you see Srimad Bhagavatam, it has a great respect between brahmacharis and grihasthas. Because Krishna himself has made a grihastha ashram, so somebody is fortunate. See, if we want to become brahmachari without getting entangled, it's not that we are better, but we are fortunate. That somebody can do. Somebody do. And it is by mercy, it's not by our own effort. So it's very, very important. One should not develop a pride of renunciation and look down upon others who are entering Grihastha life. Because see, it's like a tortoise and a rabbit. It's like a tortoise and a rabbit. So rabbit can walk faster, but rabbit sometimes becomes lazy. But tortoise will go slow, but go steady. So in one thing, the tortoise goes and tortoise wins the race. You heard that? But what happens? Because a river comes. So rabbit is not able to cross the river, tortoise crosses the river and goes ahead. Now in the second case, what happens? Both a rabbit and tortoise walk and both help each other. The tortoise carried the rabbit when the river is there. Other time, rabbit helps the tortoise to come and both win the race more faster. So when we are in competition, who is better, we are at disadvantage. But when we see a mutual cooperation between the two ashramas and respect between two ashramas, we can do great things for the moment of Prabhupada. And therefore, the Varnashrama is made in such a way to have a healthy coexistence between Grihasthas and Brahmacharis. Now, if you see examples here between Karda Muni and Swayambhu Manu, Swayambhu Manu is a king, Kshatriya, and Karda Muni is a Brahmachari and a Brahmana. Give a chair to Mataji. So Karda Muni is a Brahmana and a there. So, but how they're glorifying each other in the third canto. Of course, Karda Muni is also going to get married to Devoti now, there after Tapasya, but they're both glorifying each other. They are not, demeaning. So this was a mutual cooperation of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. There. Same way if you see Narad Muni comes. Krishna is personally respecting Narad Muni washing his feet. And Narad Muni is coming to see Krishna. In fact, now when devotees become grahasthas, is not the same as material householders, and not the same as material householder life. There is a difference. Now, what's the difference? Now, Narad Muni goes to Pandava's house. Now, Yudhishthira is thinking, I'm a grahastha and a politician. But Krishna, people go to jungle to do tapasya to get Krishna. But Krishna is living with us. What a great fortune we have. And so many sages coming to their ashram because Krishna is there. And they are great devotees of the Lord there. So, what means to say that when one is a devotee, his householder life is not, ideally, his householder life is not a material life. It should be centered around Krishna there. And to the degree it is centered around Krishna, it becomes a source of spiritual progress there. But on the other hand, a grasta cannot make progress unless he has a great respect for renounced order of life and take association of renounced order of life. Because the nature of ashram is attachment. You will get attached somewhere or the other. But you have association of brahmacharis, association of sannyasis, then what happened? You remain aloof. And even you see Srila Prabhupada, when he was a grasta, he would take a lot of association of his sannyasi god brothers. He will call sannyasi god brothers, have program, discuss with them there. And that's why Prabhupada had that spirit of renunciation at the end of that there. So therefore, a healthy same way, the if the grastas give charity, then brahmacharis have no worry, grahasthas have, the sannyasis have no worry to spread Krishna consciousness worrying about Lakshmi. Because grahasthas are giving sufficiently, they can just focus on preaching Krishna consciousness. They don't have, because any preaching require effort will require some money, project will require. But grahasthas take this responsibility of charity. Grahasthas take responsibility of, you know, working hard for Krishna. They also start preaching, and they take, and that empowers the whole thing, the whole society. So it's a kind of a combination of working healthily between brahmacharis and grahasthas. In fact, one time what happened, this bus party, uh, rather Damodar bus party, they would take all brahmacharis from temples. So all temple president combined temple president were grahasthas. So they will come and say, Arey, why you're living in the temple? You're brahmachari. You should come with us and move in the Sankirtan party. And like that, all temples were empty. All temples are empty. And temples didn't have brahmacharis. How you worship the deities, how you do this. And then we joined bus party. And the matter went to Shri. So one time all grahasthas temple present and this side were all brahmachari sannyasi, Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And finally Prabhupada took the side of the grahasthas and stopped the Sankirtan. And there. Otherwise, how the temples would run at that point of time. So Prabhupada took that. So there have been many things where there's a concern between temple grahasthas and, but Prabhupada said, no, you have to cooperate. You have to cooperate. So it's all about in a cooperative spirit and a mutual respect for each other. And especially in a neophyte state, if two devotees are together and one decides to be brahmachari, one decides to be a grahastha. So then who wants to brahmachari, there's a natural feeling comes, they will want to tease each other. Those who want to brahmachari tease, you are going to Maya. Kahan ja rahe ho kar? And those who want to be grahastha, they also will share, you know, ashrama, you won't get sweets. You have to do a lot of austerity. How will you manage all that? So they will demotivate each other, right? Which is not good. In fact, one should appreciate each other because bhakti about sthane stitaha tanuvan mano there. It's about situating whatever ashram natural to you and take shelter of Krishna there. So the healthy relationship is when you see other devotees in the different ashram, you glorify them. Don't pull their leg because in pulling leg looks very nice. You know, प्रभु अभी आप बोल रहे हो एक बार शादी हो जाएगी फिर देखेंगे. It's very easy to make a like this. But see, everything comes with a cost. Everything comes with a cost. So more you pull others' leg for being a grasa, Krishna will also put obstacles in your renunciation. Remember that. But more you learn to appreciate others' choices, other things, your practicing of your ashram becomes easy. So those who are becoming grasas with the respect, those who become brahmacharis. See, I couldn't take this breath vow. You're going that path. You're greater than me. And the brahmacharis, those who want to become brahmacharis, they respect those who are becoming grasas. No, Prabhu, despite so much things, still you're contributing so much of donations. You're giving so much of donations. You're doing so much of things. And you appreciate that there. And we have nice examples there. Our Yogesh Poo joined the ashram for 1 year, but now he got a job and he gave sufficient amount of donation for construction here. There. Same way, Ave Govind Prabhu contributes a lot to monthly here. But what happened, you may not know it. That's why devotees learn. And many all other devotees they contribute. So that's how the whole it goes healthy cooperation, healthy. And at the end, we are servants of Srila Prabhupada, we are servants of Guru Parampara, and both trying to serve and preach there. And you see, the many Matajis who have joined, they're also taking the 108 Gita shlokas there. They're 108 shlokas on Gita, they're taking daily, despite their all office work, everything. They're engaged in preaching and they're feeling bliss of Krishna consciousness there. So we are Sankirtan devotees. The ashram doesn't matter. What's important is we are Sankirtan devotees. If your psychophysical nature allows you that you can be engaged in Sankirtan whole day without going to work, very good. But in case your psychophysical nature doesn't allow it, still we are Sankirtan devotees. And we serve the mission by giving the fruits of our work for propagating the mission. And whatever time is there, we do it correctly there. So we should more identify than the ashram, than ourselves as Sankirtan devotees. We are the army of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to spread this mission all over the world. And that's what Mahaprabhu wants. So when this healthy consciousness is there, you see life becomes much easier and better. Now coming to the last part of the class, how to get rid of the false shelter. Right? First, I wanted to set a platform for a right, congenial, how to understand the teachings of the second canto. So first we saw that how Varnashrama is gradual. Varnashrama is not just giving up things, but it's more finding shelter of Krishna. Second, how we should be respectful to all ashramas there. And the third thing is now how actually we give up the false shelters, the hopes in the false shelter. And that's what Prabhupada is speaking about here. See, deeply attached to his body, children and a wife, or like an army giving protection, he sees a distraction but doesn't see it. Why? He doesn't see the Atma Tattva. He thinks if I have good muscles, that will give him protection. But doesn't mean a devotee keeps his body in a healthy state to serve Krishna. See, there are two extremes that you neglect the body so much that your time is going in taking service from devotees and doing service to Krishna because you neglected the body so much. This is one extreme. Other extreme is you want to, make your body little strong, thoda wo karenge, and you're giving so much consciousness that you are not able to do your bhakti only. That's bodily consciousness there. So we need a healthy balance of life. Because according to our prarabdha, our bodies will be arranged. We don't have to too much worry about the thinness, the beauty, the leanness, all those things. We don't too much worry about, having, going to gym, it's all bodily consciousness there, with it there. Same way, now, one thing is a person has children and wife, but he doesn't care for them only. Okay, and they get frustrated. So that is also not service to Krishna. But other extreme is, प्रभु जी वाइफ बोलिए हम सेशन कैसे आए प्रभु जी ये बोल रही है कैसे आए अरे you're so attached to wife and children. Why are you compromising on your devotion service? Are you able to get the okay. So both extremes we shouldn't go there. So what is my duty? So family life, if you see, is more about duty than pleasure. If you expect pleasure, you will get frustrated. If you expect duty, you will be happy. And with whatever pleasure comes along with their duty, you will be satisfied. But you expect family to give you pleasure, you'll be frustrated. Same way, if you take brahmachari ashram to be pleasure, masti karenge, kuch nahi karne ko hai. When the authority will catch you for service, you will be frustrated. But if you come for brahmachari ashram for a duty, no, you have a higher duty to serve the mission, to serve the Lord and serve my superiors. Then you will be happy and ecstatic there. The same way, one should not take family life for pleasure, one should take family life for duty. Then one will not be frustrated there. And whatever pleasure comes is Krishna's mercy along with that there. And so this is a balance how you practice this there. But at the end of the day, person understand Krishna is the only shelter. Whatever things I have, they may go away in life. But what is the only shelter? Krishna. Job is not the shelter. Job is not the shelter. Because job can go anywhere, anytime. But if you are a Krishna devotee, you depend on Krishna, Krishna will take care of you. And when we get a realization we are not the body, then what you need for the body? You don't need much for the body. Means because your soul, Krishna will maintain even the body of the devotees there. So one does his duty, but one is not fearful. And when a person dies, what he will take with you? That Mahamurka story, isn't it? You won't take the job with you. You won't take the bank balance with you. You won't take the family with you. You don't take the children with you. These all were the objects of duty, which are gone. You've done your duty and they're gone. Soul has to go alone. So to the degree we understand this fact, no matter what you have, nothing goes with you. To that degree we will be peaceful. Even you cannot take your service to the spiritual world, to the next body. You can't take your service to the next body. So everything in this world is temporary. It's like a bubble. It's there and then it's gone. It's like a dream. You saw things in the dream, you see this, and the morning you see it's over. So the material designations, material attachments, they're like that. So don't take them seriously. They're not going to help us. And that's what Sundar Goswami is taking Parikshit. There are only 7 days remaining. Forget about these things. Don't take shelter of that. And Parikshit didn't went to his wife. Parikshit didn't went to his son. He just delegated. You become this king. I'm going. He could do that. Other last days, people want to see the face of their son, face of this, face of that. And he's sheltering that. Let go. Let go. Krishna is the only shelter. So that preparation one has to do during his lifetime because you don't know when the exam paper will come. It's like surprise test of Bhakti Vaibhav exam. Now we have surprise test in our Bhakti Shastri and Bhakti Vaibhav. So keep preparing any time the test will come. Right? It's not that we at the whole time because what happens when you lose track, you completely lose it. You forget the Maya completely covers and you start taking those shelters. So we came with the there. Like Kadam Kanan Maharaj. How gloriously he left his body. He got cancer. He said, I decided I will in Vrindavan. He didn't went anywhere for treatment. And before a few days, he stopped eating, just only on water and chanting the holy names of Allah. And just 2 weeks before, he said, I won't meet anybody and no female disciple should be around and all that. And in that state, he left the body, the Kadambana in Vrindavan. No other shelter. Then, Krishna, even food also he gave up. Body is pain. There, only Krishna. So that's the shelter we need to practice throughout life. Because throughout life we practiced taking shelter of Krishna. At the time of death, he could fully take shelter of Krishna. Krishna's holy name. His Guru Maharaj came. The other Maharaj told, no, not chant 16 now. He said, no, please don't take this opportunity to struggle for Krishna. It was difficult chanting, there's no strength in the body. Please don't take this opportunity to struggle for Krishna. That was the hard mood. Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj, Sridhar Swami Maharaj. You can read this book many more. So many glorious stories of Prabhupada disciples. Even Mataji's there, taking only shelter of Krishna in the last days. They could just let and realize. So this is what mean by taking shelter of Krishna. Kalindi Mataji, you know. So one Mataji, she was in one foreign country, European country, and this Mataji was in working in a hospital. So she won't get time in a surgery thing. She will drink coffee, tablets, and all this. So she detected a cancer, and then she had only a few weeks to live. Then she came to the temple, and the deity spoke to him, her, and she became a devotee. And she had only a few weeks. Then she went to Vrindavan. Okay, anyway, we marna to Vrindavan. She lived for years together, and completely perfected life and left the body. She took complete shelter in Vrindavan there. So this is how the art of taking shelter of Krishna. Nothing in this world. Only Krishna can protect me. So this mode of taking shelter is actually there. Even our one of the Matajis, she got a bike accident, and she after accident she's thinking, if I leave the body, will I remember Krishna or not? She's not thinking what happened to her, but she's thinking that if I whether I'll able to remember Krishna or not. So see, so you don't know the soul or a soul to take shelter of Krishna. The body doesn't matter. Soul's own sincerity. She was in ICU. She got there, came out, and then she was thinking whether I remember Krishna or not. And she was preparing, let me remember Krishna because anytime I might leave the body. But she survived, nothing major injury was there. But to have that consciousness that not body mein kya hua, that is one worry. But did I took shelter of Krishna? That's more a worry of a devotee. There. So we have to internalize Krishna consciousness. That am I taking shelter of Krishna? It's an important part of it. Yes, we end here. Any questions? Okay, I should just ask a question. Any questions online? So I have question is for the sake of approach of teaching the start for Guru not perspective lesson repetition. So like you know this question like you know that Guru why don't have direct access to Guru? See, there are three types of Guru. Diksha Guru, Siksha Guru, Padmadaksha Guru. Who made you devotee? Tell me. Huh. To see, somebody becomes a see, Padmadaksha Guru means who show you the path. He may be some senior devotee facilitator. So he showed you the path. Like Suniti showed the path to Dirva. Then there are Diksha Gurus and Siksha Gurus. So scriptures say Diksha Guru and Siksha Guru both are very important. The Siksha Gurus are the one who trains us, engages in seva, give us Siksha there. So it doesn't need that somebody is labeled as Guru to be Guru. If they are doing the function of Guru, they are Gurus. Are you getting the point? So don't be in illusion ki we don't have access to Guru. So those devotees who are giving us Siksha, going there, should give them there. See, only consideration is we should give respect to devotees of Kanish Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari differently. The Diksha Gurus may be Uttam Adhikaris, but there are many Siksha Gurus who are Madhyam Adhikari. So we should respect them and take their association and guidance. We'll go back to Godhead. Isn't it? So many senior devotees comes here, right? Yeah. One question, okay. This is a comment. Yes. Yes, Vishnu. Both. First, it comes internally, then manifests into external activity. If you find shelter of Krishna in lotus feet, you don't need anything material in life. Then you anyway renounce the whole world. Are you getting my point? See, if somebody has find shelter at Krishna's lotus feet, for him, whether material things are there, not there, doesn't matter. He's absorbed in Krishna. So externally, what will come is it doesn't depend upon the things. If he has, he uses it. Doesn't have, he's fine with it. Even if job goes away, he's not very bewildered. You know my point. He's not too much thinking in terms of money. I have to earn more money and more money. He's thinking I have to earn more spiritual currency. What? More chanting the holy names of the Lord. So that's where he finds shelter. He don't find shelter in money. So he's not hankering after big and big package jobs. Because he's not attaining Krishna's shelter, that's why he's finding shelter in money and job. But he does his duty. If he's a family member, he will earn for his family members and maintain. But he's more interested in Krishna. He's finding shelter over there. So first it comes internally, then comes externally. Can you repeat again? Do what is favorable for bhakti. Like some people, they take cold water bath, they come and sleep in the japa. Then they may not take cold water bath. It is not favorable for bhakti. Like for me also, if I take a full cold water bath, I like it actually. But then I feel very sleepy when come to japa. Then I will take a little hot water to make it warm enough so that it doesn't increase the bath in the body. So that becomes anukul for my bhakti. But some people take too much hot water bath, which is not good. There, it's not anukul for bhakti. You become very comfortable. There. So do what is anukul for bhakti, reject what is pratikul for bhakti. Are you getting your point? So you don't think of your pleasure and pain. Think which will increase my bhakti, which will not increase my bhakti. That is Sharnagati. Anukula se sankalpa, pratikula se varja. Okay, so we end here. Shankar Shunratam ki jai, Shri Prabhat ki jai.